We're here for the second business track session. We've got a really exciting session for you today. Talking all about merchandising. We've got some really good panelists here today to talk through that. So I'm just going to go ahead. My name is Brian Beck, for those of you who were in the last session. And I'm your host for the business tracks. So I just want to go ahead and introduce these fine folks we have here. First we have Ali Khan. Ali is the Director of Technology Operations at Warby Parker. And he's their first tech team member, right? Then we have Greg Siegel, who's the founder and president of Wampika, a Magento solution partner. And then finally is Bernadine Wu, who's the CEO of Fit for Commerce, and she's going to be your panel leader. So with that, I'm going to let these guys go ahead and take it away.
Hi, I'm Ali Khan. I'm the Director of Technology Operations, as Brian pointed out. I'm from Warby Parker. We are a merchant using Magento. We sell eyewear online. Next slide. So we are a fashion brand. We hit our first year sales goals in the first 3 weeks of our launch. Pretty impressive, I think, by any metric. We sold out our top 15 frames in the first 3 weeks as well. And in the first month, both GQ and Vogue picked us up and featured us as primary articles in their magazines. After that, countless others soon followed. We've been featured in countless press releases, TechCrunch, Daily Candy, a variety of news sources as well. The key thing that everyone has picked up on is the merchandise. The eyeglasses in the centerfold, and we keep on pressing at that.
How's it going? I'm Greg Siegel, president of Wampika. So we're a digital commerce agency based out of Boston, Massachusetts. We've been working with Magento since 2007, since version 0.8. And many of our clients are SMBs that are in the Fortune 1000, as well as big companies in the Fortune 1000, as well as SMBs in the Inc. 5000. So, yeah.
And my name is Bernadine Wu. I'm the CEO of Fit for Commerce. I think we worked with many of you who've been involved in the Magento community for a long time. I've seen it really grow. It's really great. My story is that I think by the time that I checked in, at least 10 of you had said, "You're the woman who talked through the fire alarm last year." So I think that's my claim to fame right now. But basically, I started the company about 4 years ago, and we work with a lot of multi-channel retailers. We're a pure advisory consulting firm, so we're not a software or hardware provider. And we're a team of former multi-channel merchants, people who've sat in their shoes and had the pains and agony, as well as the successes and the love stories that you guys have come to know. And so what we do is we work with many of you and share your stories with you. So today's session is on e-merchandising or web merchandising. First I want to ask, how many of you in the audience have a brick and mortar store or retail store? Okay, so probably about a third of you. And how many of you consider yourselves merchants or started off as a brick and mortar merchant? Quite a bit, probably about 2/3. And any catalogers in the room? Okay, so we have a nice mix. So what I would argue is that all of your hands should go up. You're all merchants, even if you don't sit on your merchandising team, because we're all here to sell, to give an experience, to engage with our customers. And so part of this session is no matter what role you're in, whether you're in a technology role, a business role, a customer service role, an operational role, to think like a merchant. So what is e-merchandising or web merchandising or e-commerce merchandising? So we put this sort of a definition together that maybe will help. The appropriate assortment for the target audience, in line with the brand, and showcasing products that sell and satisfy. Some really key words there. Obviously, customer is also important too, but these words, I think, are hopefully words that you'll keep in mind. I love this quote from the founder, Nina Marcus. "You achieve customer satisfaction when you sell merchandise that doesn't come back and the customer does." Great notion, right? And this one too. This is from my friend Lauren Friedman, a peer of mine in the industry. And she wrote this book. And in her book she wrote, "Though the methodology, the currency, and the customers evolve, the process of shopping remains relatively unchanged. It's just shopping." Now she wrote this when the web was picking up, when still just shopping, right? And this morning, when we heard about what do merchants think about and the buying process and how do customers come into your store, whether that store is on your phone or on the web, they want to achieve a certain objective, whether it's finding something or browsing or buying something. So really, it's very similar. It's the same principles, but how do we bring that now into not just the online world, but the multi-channel world? So we think it's an art, and many of you probably have merchants that are very artful and creative and great at finding products. You walk into some of these stores and think, how do they ever find these great products? And how amazing the store looks. Again, by store, I mean a retail store, a web store, a mobile store, a social media site. So whether that's great imagery, or a guide to help you buy something, or a really nice feeling, doesn't that feel very placid? Like you want to sit there and read a book, or a program on a Magento site? Or maybe it's a brand experience, this LV site, or maybe it's something with a lot more energy like this Nike site. It is an art, but it's also a science. And that science means math. So yes, I put this cheesy cosine formula in there to just exemplify. It's head-hurting Excel, math jockeying, right? It's spreadsheets that are so small your eyes go blind and your therapist tells you you need more massages. And it's a lot of work on your merchandising numbers, on your sales numbers, on a lot of the things that the session just talked about before. It really is math too. It's also the what and the how. By what, I mean, what are you selling? What's the brand alignment? What's the merchandising assortment, meaning the breadth, as well as the depth? How many SKUs or sub-SKUs? How many colors? How many sizes? How many variations of what you're selling do you want to offer in your store? It's also the cost of goods. How are you going to price it? We have some clients that there's a pricing expert, and that's what they do all day long. They shop competitive sites, offline, online, and find out what pricing is, inclusive of free shipping and promotions and so on. Margin, what's your margin? Planning and inventory. Those are full-time jobs in many of your organizations. And of course now we have to think about the multi-channel dynamics. The how is how are you selling it? How are you romancing that product or that line? Do you have robust information at the decision point to help make those decisions? Are you making an emotional connection? Are you leading him or her to the sale and making it really easy to find and to buy? Or are you guiding them? And of course, again, cross-channel drivers. How are you helping her maybe start an engagement in one channel and move to another? And actually, we have another session this afternoon specifically about multi and cross-channel. So the what, sort of the brain-hurting part of this is analysis. And you have to analyze it as if it's your flagship store, or as if it's your only store, or if it's your company, it is your company's revenues and your lifeblood. So I know you guys probably can't see the numbers in here, which is sort of the point, right? Because it's mind-numbing sometimes. But really, what are the categories that are selling? What are the products that are selling? In what price grouping? By which customers? So this example here, this is for a sports site. We actually looked at what do enthusiasts buy differently than non-enthusiasts. And they actually had a couple different levels of shoppers, enthusiasts to sort of amateur-ish, to amateur to pro athlete. And so we found that different levels of enthusiasts were buying different price points in different categories. That's the kind of stuff that you need to get to. The how, the romancing the product, comes in many shapes and sizes, and these examples that I'm going to share, I think have become pretty stock. And what we're going to talk about some more, and what my friends here are going to tell us about, are techniques that go beyond these. So I would say these are pretty basic, and if you're not doing them, they probably should be on your shorter part of your roadmap. So again, great photography, left-hand nav that is not as simple anymore. She's been trained to shop differently now. So no longer are navigations just men's, women's, shoes, bags. It's more of a guided tool. So a lot more choices there, swatching. Maybe suggest guides that help with fit, specifications, alternate views, and then some more product content, the how-to, the ingredients of what you're selling. best if you want to and how it works, so actual applications of what you're selling. Again, more upsells and cross-sells so that you can really create a whole design feel. Adding to a registry, adding to favorites, and of course more alternate images. Now I'm going to pass things over to Ali, who's going to tell us a little bit about how Warby Parker's doing it.
So real quick, how many people here bought glasses online? Sunglasses, eyeglasses? A few people. What about clothing? More people. So it's tough online to do this, right? I mean, it's a very personal product. We're used to trying it out in the store. How do we do it differently? How do we get our people to do it online with confidence? So we keep a focus on the merchandise, first of all. We keep the merchandise clear and central always. Our site is very clean and not noisy at all. It's always about the merchandise. We personalize. Everybody has their own unique way of shopping. We don't do a one-fit-fits-all. We'll kind of show you how we engage the customer personally to give them options that work for them to try on the product, feel the product, and enjoy the product, and then feel confident buying it. And finally, focusing on confidence and experience, which kind of goes to the first 2 bullet points. The experience is key while keeping the merchandise central to it. Product and imagery. A picture is worth 1,000 words. Descriptions we found just didn't work. People want to see the product. They want to play with the product. They want to feel it. So on our homepage, when you come there, right away, you're going to see our product on the face of a person, a real person right there, and you have an immediate feel for that product. You also see our price point right away, $95. And you also see our world-class customer service. Right away, you have everything there you need. You have the merchandise, confidence, we show our phone number, we show our price. There's already an experience being formed there. You see on the lower part, you see that we have showrooms available, we have home try-ons available. You'll also see the marketing, but the home try-on and our virtual try-on and our showrooms are key. This is the product page. I'm going to show a real quick demo of this actually and give you an idea of how this is different from everybody else.
Are the glasses you're wearing on sale?
These are from Metrics actually. I'm trying to get $50. So. Right now, this just looks like a normal image, right? What we did is we took the image idea and enhanced it. You do a mouse over, you can see the image from multiple frames. This is not Flash, this is not something 3D, this is simple JavaScript, HTML5, low effort, high impact. Right away, a customer can see the product from virtually every angle possible, and they have a much better idea of how it will look on them. And if you look on the site itself, you don't see the full thing there. Scroll down. Everything is primarily image-based. You see the images right away, the price, and the add to cart button. The merchandise is front and center, and right away we tell the person, here it is, take a look, take it and put it in your cart. Right there's everything you need. Try-ons. So eyeglasses, you need to try them on. There's no way you're going to buy a pair of eyeglasses without trying them on first. We have decided to go with 3 different tracks to try them on. We go from low effort to highest effort, and inversely lowest quality to highest quality. The first one is our virtual try-on. It's low effort and it's low quality, but right away the customer can see on their face online what the eyeglasses will look like on them. And all of you can try this if you go to the site, Warby Parker. There's a virtual try-on button on all our product pages. Play with it, try it out. You'll see that the glasses come right in your face and you're going to love the product. The next 2 levels is a home try-on, where we'll actually send the product to the person. So again, we're lowering the barriers to a try-on here. We're saying, go, try them. There's no commitment here. Play with the merchandise. We want you to have our merchandise in your hand because we believe that will incentivize you to get it. Finally, we also have showrooms. We are doing brick and mortar as well, and this is how we combine engagement. We invite people to come to our showroom. We have 12 different showrooms right now across the country, and we're planning to have more. So even if they're not comfortable coming out to our site, we say that's fine. Come inside, come to brick and mortar, play with the glasses there, and then buy it there or buy it online. But again, we've given people a variety of ways to engage with the merchandise and a variety of ways to right away buy it. You can do it in-store or online, and you can try it any way you want in the comfort of your own home or in a store.
So Ali and I tried to get the try-on demo to work here, and we couldn't get the webcam to work, but it works really neatly, and it's pretty cool. And I think I picked out a couple of glasses that I think we get. Maui Jim is also another Magento client that also has a try-on glass, and I encourage you to go and see that and see if maybe in your category there's something similar.
Real people. Again, this is engaging with the customers. We only just, I think, had our first round of professional models, and even those we're not really happy with. When we first launched our website, we picked real people to model our glasses. fashion editors, influencers, blogosphere people, all the people on our site for the most part, they're real people, just like you and me. They're not picture perfect people. They're there to model classes and show them the real world in a real life fashion setting. We found it engages with the community. People like the fact that we're using people just like them. It gives you a greater sense of engagement. So you're giving them the sense of engagement, again, the focus on the merchandise. Look at how we're engaging with our merchandise. Do good. So we at Warby Parker have a social mission too. We call ourselves a B Corporation. We're socially conscious. We donate a pair of prescription eyeglasses to someone in need for every pair of sunglasses or eyeglasses that you purchase from us, be they prescription or normal or non-prescription. We found a lot of people seem to resonate with this feeling. People like to feel that when they're buying something, they're doing something good for somebody else as well. It's not something we overly emphasize. We don't want people to think we're trying to push them to buy because of do good, but we have found that people like the fact that we are community-oriented. Not just buy a pair, give a pair, but in our local communities, we're also very engaged. We do nonprofit acts. We encourage our employees to be nonprofit acts. We're always looking for some way to give back to the community, be it being carbon-free, giving back, just supporting our own employees. Doing good has resonated very, very well with our customers, and they enjoy being part of a company and culture that gives back to others. Accidental commerce. This is going to be another example. So at Warby Parker, for our annual report for 2011, we basically came together and said, we want to tell our customers, here's what we've accomplished with you. Well, here's some random tidbits at Warby Parker. This was not meant to be a marketing strategy at all. This is simply a way to engage with the customers and say, hey, this is what we've done. So we put together a nice little annual review here, where you can click through and see a variety of different slides with a variety of different metrics. Who are normal customers? What are the random keywords they choose? The do good. How many pairs have you donated? Here's what you've done. Here, as a customer, you guys have collectively helped launch 100,000 glasses to be distributed to people in need. Social media. Here's what our likes are. Here's what our fans are like. Distribution of random facts all around. We even made it a little interactive. So you can check, here's our most popular frame by state, Colton's, Huxley, all around interactive. Just fun random tidbits to engage with the customer. We found with this presentation for 7 days, we had 5 times the normal site traffic and 3 times the normal conversion. That's it. This took us 5 hours to do. 7 days, 5 times the normal traffic rates, and 3 times the normal conversion rates. Simply by being open and transparent to our customers.
So that's where you're merchandising the company, actually, right?
Yeah.
And one of my favorites is the company culture one. Where was it 59 is the pupil size, the average pupil size?
Yeah, 2 average cups of coffee a day. I think our favorite beer is Blue Moon. They actually sent us a free case of beer after that, so.
Great, so it was a little accidental, but it actually turned out great. Whoop, and the lights dim.
Someone lean on the lights.
Someone leaning on them? Are we feeling inspired? The next slide is inspiration commerce. So you may not have the chance to have all of these tools yet, but can you convey your brand in a really inspirational way that's capturing, that's memorable? In Shop Rouge, that's on the left, it's a much more muted and understated look. At the bottom, Frette, which of course is a luxury brand, also a Magento site. Of course, you get a feeling of luxury in there. So even if it's as simple as the right imagery and the right brand conveyance, that is important. As you can see, we're following a cute naming convention here of all these different kinds of commerce. Lifestyle commerce. Is anybody a boarder here? Okay, is that just a sport, or is that a lifestyle? It's a lifestyle, right? So how can you convey that lifestyle, and how can you get him or her involved in your site and choosing the board and choosing what kind of boarder they are and actually designing their board or putting it together. Also in Shop Rouge over here, again, very different kind of look. This is wedding planning. Some of you know how that is. And how do we get her engaged in that kind of an experience? Fashion show. So, and this doesn't have to be for apparel and fashion. It could also be video demonstrations of what I'll call heavy man tools. That's kind of an odd view Brian from Grand Harbor Freight on Magento. But whatever it is, it's not automated here. But again, that sense of action or that sense of of how that dress flows or how that jacket moves down the runway or how that tool works can be very important. Okay, so search is a part of merchandising. And of course, the buzzword is searchandising for some of you. And the notion here is just that your merchants and your merchant team are part of the team to help your shoppers find what they're looking for. So they should be involved with your site search team, and your site search team should be constantly working with the merchandising team. So how do we help the customer zero in on select products? How do we make it easy for them to find it? And how do we get them the results? So Office Max Australia is a Magento client, searched on iPhone here, and they intentionally showed different products in the early results, the top results. A printer different from a speaker. Lowe's, if you go to their navigation now, and we're starting to see a lot more of this in the industry when you have a high SKU count and a broad assortment, you go to the drop-down menus and you're going to see a lot more merchandising being done there. So it's no longer just a list. You're trying to romance the product even in the navigation. You have to be careful that it's not overwhelming and over-designed, but we're starting to see a lot more of that, especially on the high SKU count sites. And then directed commerce, how do we help her or him find what she's looking for? In EcoMom, we heard about EcoMom this morning. This is a very curated site. He shared with us this morning that he's helping to find those few products that really are the great products. So it's not just about lots of assortment. It's how do I help her find what she's looking for? She's very eco-focused. So I've done the homework for her. And then some of you have continuity programs where it may be an ongoing subscription, like coffee or beer, Blue Moon maybe, or something like that over a period of time, or it may be trunk show, something that has more of a surprise element. So you don't know what beer is going to show up in your box, or what's going to be shown from your personal shopper. Again, just ideas for you. One of the most critical pieces, and you've heard this already from Ali, is that personalization is absolutely a very important part of merchandising. So I'm going to hand this over to Greg, who's going to talk a little bit more about that and dig a bit deeper in this area. Next year I'll be the woman who talks through the dark.
So yeah, from our perspective, whenever we're talking to any of our clients, and especially when we're dealing with merchandising right now, the number one thing that we're always harping upon is personalization. And I think the biggest problem right now that I would have is if I asked all of you to define what personalization is, everyone here would have a different answer. So let's do this. Let's take what personalization is and let's just define it as data and exactly how to use that data. So every one of you are interacting or have customers and people that are interacting with your brand, with your websites, and you're able to capture a lot of that data at every single stage of when they're actually touching the brand and touching the website. So it's really about how you take that data and what you do with it, and then how you use that to target a message back to your specific customers. So to give you a couple of numbers here, first off, it's about 6 times more to acquire a new customer than it is to keep an existing one. Number 2 here, it's about 50% easier to sell to an existing customer versus about 15% to a new one. And finally, if you increase your customer retention rate by about 5%, it can increase your profits by about 85%. And you should really think about that number because it's amazing. So when you start doing some personalization on your websites, who most of you probably are through recommendations or something else, that's a huge number that you can actually increase just by doing some of the customer retention. So just talking, and you heard about this morning when they were talking about X.commerce, really it's all about the data. And I'm actually excited to see what X.commerce is going to be doing with that, because if we can get all the data into one centralized place, then it allows you to do many, many different things with it. So right now, whenever we're talking to our clients, the first thing that they think about is their existing customer base, which is about 5% of the overall users that are coming to your website, and how they're actually using that data and what data you're actually capturing. So most of the time, and there's your data. So most of the time, what happens here is that you're thinking about everything from the purchase, all the interactions that you're having, but it's in the case that it's an existing customer. So we even heard it in the previous panel that a lot of the data that they were talking about was from the purchase history, that they're male or female, or that you know some of the other demographic information. But one of the biggest problems in and one of the biggest opportunities that I think every one of you has here right now is understanding all the behavioral data that you're able to capture, which is about 95% more data that you probably have at your fingertips. And there are a lot of different systems. We heard a couple of the ones on the previous panel, Predictive Intent, one of our partners. They can start giving you trending analysis and a lot of behavioral data that they can use on people that are not customers, and then you can use that back to power things like emails and things like that too. So some of the things, and again, we're talking very broad strokes here, but we just like to talk about what the evolution of personalization has looked like. And in the beginning, Amazon and Netflix really redefined what recommendations were. And many times, and I'd say if I was to go back and ask you guys what the definition of personalization is, many of you would just go right to recommendations. And so we know what Amazon and Netflix have done. Obviously, they've captured a huge amount more data on each one of you than you probably even know, and so the emails that I get. But that was really the first ground level place that started off. After that, about 4 or 5 years ago, people started really focusing on customer segmentation. So we started thinking about things like Eloqua and Marketo and Salesforce, and you're starting to take all of your customers and group them into little buckets, and then saying, hey, how can we take a targeted message and how can we give that to that specific segment that's there? But really what you need to be thinking about right now, and this is probably a pretty hard concept for everyone to grasp, is one-to-one personalization. It's really understanding who your customers are, understanding exactly the behaviors that they're taking on your website, and exactly what message and what needs and wants that they have, and how can you actually make sure that you're standing in front of them at the right moment with the right offer or the right behavior that they need to be able to take right there. Oh, just kidding. Another thing just to think about this in layman's terms is about personalization is that there's personalization both inside your website and also offsite. And again, many times when people are thinking about personalization, they immediately go to their website and saying, hey, my website's very catered towards the customers that are coming to my website. I have all the right pieces on the specific page, but one of the main problems that you tend to forget is that you also need to be personalizing outside too. So on-site personalization are everything from search results, it could be brands, sentiment that you're targeting, it could be calls to actions that are on your website, it could be landing pages, basically anything that goes and flows between mobile, social, digital commerce, and even in your brick and mortar stores there too. Outside of your website, there are all the different channels that you have there too. So traditional advertising, digital advertising, marketing, email marketing obviously is a huge one for everyone here. There are a lot of things here that you can do too, which are things like product alerts, figuring out how you can be taking that message and putting them into any one of these specific tactics. But really what it all comes back down to is making sure that you're capturing a customer profile. And again, because all of you have probably a million different systems, ERP, OMS, WMS, your e-commerce websites, Magento, obviously, a lot of data resides in a lot of disparate systems, and you always have to figure out how do we take that, how do we tie it from one strand to the next. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time to go over that yet, but you can ask questions. So just to give you a few examples of how personalization works, and there are maybe 4 examples here of different sites. The first one here is to follow our theme here is what we call me-commerce. And there's 2 Magento sites right now that do a good job of me-commerce. One is Floor, the floor tiles, but that you can basically go on there and design your own rug and see what it looks like. So this is where the customer themselves are actually interacting with the products that they know they want to purchase to basically make it their own, and also understand what it is in their own environment, or understand how it's going to fit on them, or what it's going to look like on them. And that's what we call e-commerce. And the other one here is Customizo, where you can actually design your own t-shirts.
By the way, that's a floor I designed, and I tried to make it in Magento. I was trying.
Second one here is we call B2Buyer commerce. So ModCloth is an example of this. So this is very similar to the threadless model. You probably all know what threadless is. It's where the customers themselves are actually doing the merchandising on your website. So they are intelligent because they're actually allowing the customers themselves to design the products, put them up into a common community place where everybody can actually vote on them. And then obviously from there, ModCloth understands which products they should be making, because obviously they have an understanding as to the inventory that they need to make and which products are going to be selling the best. Build your own commerce is another one. These are a couple of clients of ours right now. One that we've worked with on Magento for about 4 years now, or 3.5 years, is Crumb's Bake Shop. So in this case, there's a little bit of a different take on build your own. So instead of it being designing something, it's really thinking about what the business problem is, and then how can you create intelligent usability to solve these specific business problems. So a good example with Crumb's is that when they're selling cupcakes, they have to ship it in more than just 1 or 2 cupcakes. It costs a lot of money to do all the dry ice and how you're actually packing products. So we had to come up with an idea or a concept where we were saying, well, what can we do to actually replicate the in-store experience and at the same time be able to make it a fun, engaging experience where they're going to be ordering at least 6 cupcakes at a time. So this is where this whole drag and drop 6-pack configurator comes from, so that's on the product page. The other one that we're working on right now is a much newer version of this for a company called Racing the Planet. They're an international company based out of China. They have many locations around the country, and their customer base is really based around these expert racers who love to go and do these crazy things like hike through the Gobi Desert, go through Antarctica, and what they have to do is in order to run these races, they have to be able to track the weight that's on that of the products that are in their backpack. And so what we wanted to do here is saying, well, how can we come up with something that's intelligent that will not only have them come to us because we have the best price or maybe we have the best selection on one product, but also show them all the categories of all the other products that we offer, and also be able to have them add it to their backpack and be able to say, hey, here's the target weight for what you're trying to aim for, and do you have all the specific types of products you have here. So it's also a good way to increase the amount of items that they're actually putting in their cart there too. Personalized commerce is a good example. This is the Levi store. If you've ever gone on this, basically you log into Facebook, and this is a really good example of how you can basically take all of your friends' likes and understanding what your friends are doing, and the merchandise is based on the personalized experience from what your friends say you should do or what things that they like. This is my friend's company, Randall, and he owns a company called Giant Nerd. Probably the best example of any social commerce that I've ever seen. It's a Magento site. They've done an amazing job tying into Gigya, which is also another partner, which allows you to basically take Facebook and Twitter and sign up and register for an account, and they take care of all the APIs there. One of the coolest things here is that they have such an amazing profiling section on the website, where based on what your friends are doing on the website, it shows you different recommendations. It also shows you things like product alerts based on the things that you like, and it's also very well tied into Facebook, obviously. And then the final thing here is that they have things like leaderboards, so that they want to show off how people are interacting with the website, what behaviors they're taking, and they also offer you incentives, which are what they call nerd dollars, and you can take those nerd dollars and spend them on products. So it's an awesome way for them to also build up user-generated content on the website too, which makes it a place where you can build trust and whatnot. So just as a last slide here, one of the main things that we're talking about, and I sort of harped upon a little bit before, again, this is very high level, but is how do you start integrating your personalization? And how do you understand what data resides in what systems, and how do you start capturing a lot of this data and bring them into one section here? So, quick example here, somebody goes on Facebook, one of your friends shares the Nikon D5000, it leads you, you can basically click on the link and it'll lead you to a website where, because it's coming from Facebook, you can actually have a very specific set of brand information on there. On that page also you have a newsletter sign up where you incentivize the customer to sign up and get 50% off their first order. Because you're incentivizing them, you can capture a bunch more information, a bunch more data, maybe just demographic information on what they like, what their friends like, or some information about the products. From that, you can send them an email. In that email, it could be a price drop email, it could be another incentive, or reminding them about the incentive. Then imagine that they go onto the site from their mobile device. You obviously know they're coming from their mobile device, so you can track their location, gives you even more information, more data that you have on them. Eventually, they purchase the product. When they purchase the product, you try to incentivize them again to share the product back to Facebook by giving them either reward points or something like that. And each one of these stages, you can be capturing data. You can understand what your customers are doing, and then how you can actually do this. So even if they don't make the purchase, it's still really important here to understand that you are capturing this data and that you can use this to really start personalizing your website. So Ali also has a good example for how they do it on WordPark.
Sure. So WordPark, we talk about how we don't just do everything on the website. We have showrooms. We also do Facebook. We do a lot of social engagement. We send an average of 1 email a month to customers. We send several emails, but to that specific customer, just one. We stagger it out based on personalization. Our open rate is about 4 times the average. I think it's around 40 to 50%. And our conversion rate is like 10%, which if you know about email marketing, the average is 2%. So 10% conversion, 40 to 50% open rates. 1 email a month. We do it great somehow. Basically, we take all the data and aggregate it. I mean, it's
personalization.
It's personalization. Everything that I just said, we look at what people do on Facebook. We look at what they do in their showroom. Did they make an appointment? Did they walk in? Have they done a home try-on? What do they look at? Not just what they bought, but what they look at. Did they do a home try-on and maybe take 2 home try-ons and take the same product twice? Do they really like it, just not want to buy it for some reason? We take a look at everything, personalize it to that specific group or person, send it out, and we have a much higher conversion than the average. So personalization can really boost your sales.
Amazing. So as you queue up for Q&A, I'll do the summary slide here. If you have questions, questions, you need to come up to the microphones. So I think what we've said is think like a merchant, because you are one. Focus on the science and the art, as well as romancing the product so she falls in love, not just with the products, but also your brand and your site, and make it easy, because it is about the experience. And that personalization is about many things, especially the data. And we're not short on data, right? We're short on what do we use that data for, which data do we use, and think about this integrated personalization. So if you want copies of the slide, you can email me. Our contact info is here. And Ali has kindly put a discount code for eyeglasses, both sunglasses and prescription glasses that you can use for this to buy them. Any questions?